Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I have people asleep in the house, and so I don't want to get in trouble. So I'm going to not talk too loud this morning, but we'll get through it. I wanted to start with this. I don't really cover this kind of stuff much, but this just caught my attention. Yesterday afternoon or evening, I saw this come through. Italy's PM Draghi is expected to resign tomorrow. Something really weird's going on because I don't pay too much attention to the politics and all, but I know this guy resigned. I know this guy I think he was shot in the streets a couple of weeks ago. I think she resigned, and I think at least one of these guys resigned. All these people in the G7 it's like they're resigning left and right, and it's like they're going down like dominoes, and I'm like, something weird, of course, I've told you before, we're surrounded by lies in this world we live in now, but something very weird is going on in every aspect that can be in this world, and play it safe, folks. That's all I'm telling you here. But anyway, protect yourself in your thinking protect yourself and your family with everything you do and every move you make, and we'll talk about some of that today. This morning I went in and bought some Ethereum, okay, and even though the Ethereum free pass and all that stuff, I still think that hopefully some of the people involved in what happened will pay for, in my opinion, or potential crimes. But that doesn't mean that you're going to get rid of Ethereum. I think Ethereum is going to do well. I think it's going to be a part of things. And so, yes, I am. If I see an opportunity, I am going to buy some Ethereum here and there. It's not one that I own a lot of or anything, but it is something I'm going to own some of. It has gone up the most over the last 7 days, and for that reason, today everything's kind of dipping. So I went in and bought some of that. What's gone up the least? Stellar. So Stellar was up 9%. If you look down this list, XRP was up about 13.4%. Everything's done pretty well over the last 7 days, and today there's a slight pullback. But anyway, I had not gotten any Ethereum in a while, so I decided I would scoop up a little bit. I'll probably get some more over the next little bit. Now check this out. They are literally putting tanks in the streets in China to protect their central banks. Folks, let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm making sure I have plenty of physical cash. I'm making sure I have plenty of cash in my bank account, even though I don't trust banks. I'm making sure that I have plenty of physical gold, and I'm making sure, look at this, Chinese markets fall as deals with lockdowns, bank runs, and threats of real estate developer defaults. If you don't think that this stuff is going to become contagious, think again. If you look, this is part of the reason I have a Glen account is because it's an account separate from my bank account. It's its own account. This way I can have my physical gold, and I also have my gold in my Glen account, which allows me to have it in spendable mode and I have my debit MasterCard with it. So these banks can all go down, but I'm still going to have my Glen account and still be able to spend using my MasterCard debit card if they locked my bank account down. I mean, these are the kind of things that are going through my mind. And then on top of that, I've got my crypto on my Ledger Nano S, several of them. I'll put a link to the top of the description on Glint. So if you want to go check them out. my Glenn account is one of the best things I've done in a long time. In fact, I talked to my father, who is the official father of the Digital Asset Investor channel, about it the other day, and he decided he was going to top his account off. He's adding to his for the same reasons I'm adding to mine. So go check that link out. And then yesterday evening I put this out. This is a takeoff on the Big Short. Picture of John Deaton. Says, while all of crypto was having a big old party, a few XRP holders saw what no one else could, an SEC coming for all of it. Now, John Deaton was on the Liz Clayman show on Fox Business yesterday with Charles Gasparino. I'm going to try to play the John Deaton parts. If I can, let's see if we can get it.
And now, from what we understand, they want you gone. They're trying to get you off the case. What happened?
Well, Charlie, thank you. And thank you, Liz, for having me back on. It's crazy times. They're reasserting that things that they've already asked to the judge. I made a YouTube video where I did a satirical mock cross-examination of former Chairman Clayton, and I infused scenes from My Cousin Vinny, and I tweeted a few things that were harsh criticism, and they told the judge that I shouldn't be granted amicus status because of that. She rejected those views, granted me amicus status, and lo and behold, now they're arguing that I should be thrown off the case.
Right. Well, just so you know, I'm not saying I agree. I'm not saying I agree with them, but they described you as violent. I know you were a Marine, but you suggested you would. It was the SEC.
Liz, I had a time where in the My Cousin Vinny movie, the judge says to Joe Pesci, "Are you on drugs?" And I
remember that.
I respond to the judge, pretending, "No, Judge, I don't use drugs, but maybe I'll need them soon." They claim that I promoted drug use. They literally argued that nonsense. The judge rejected all of this.
Well, you're losing. They are losing the case. This is, by the way, Liz threatens to kill me every day. So, and I'm still here, right? But Ripple tell the SEC.
Step. The judge decides one way is, and
at least based on the judge's motions, what's the next step here?
Well, the next step right now, there's that Daubert motion, which is just challenging expert witnesses, and briefing next month is due for summary judgments. That's where each side tries to get a complete victory. The judge decides one way or the other, or she might decide that a jury has to issue certain factors. But you're right, Charlie, a lot is at stake because the SEC has come out and argued that the token itself, not just the way Ripple sells it, but that if anyone in the United States sells XRP, they're violating Section 5. So if the SEC were to get its way, then and deem XRP a security, the token itself, then every altcoin on the market, including Ethereum, would be in play for the SEC to get their hands on the this asset class.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
All right. So that's all I'm going to show you of that. I do want to point out that we have 3 remaining actual journalists that I'm aware of in the traditional financial media: Liz Clayman, Charles Gasparino, and Eleanor Terrett. You can add Rosalind Layton, who's a contributor to Forbes, to that. Besides that, everybody else is the propaganda arm of the government, as far as I can tell, because they do not find this newsworthy at all. The biggest case probably in SEC history is not even worth covering, and they aren't covering it. CNBC, all of these people, including the biggest disappointment in financial media, Julia Chatterley, who completely dropped everything about Ripple once the SEC case started. She ought to be ashamed of herself. If I were her, if my bosses are telling me I just out of nowhere can't quit it, can't cover this story, she went from covering Ripple all the time to all of a sudden just dropping it. Well, if your entire credibility as a journalist and goes out the window, then freaking quit and go somewhere where you can cover it. I mean, this business of, oh, her bosses are not letting her, whatever. Go somewhere where you can actually be a journalist and not a narrative carrier for what they tell you to cover. Gary Gensler, if you're a small business owner looking to raise capital, our Office of Advocate for Small Business Capital Formation has resources for you. Who on earth would go to the SEC for anything? What business, knowing what we know now? They've lost all their credibility, and this is the problem. This is the reason that this can't stand, is because we now have this agency that nobody trusts. The citizens of the United States, nobody trusts these people because they can't be trusted. And I said, yeah, come on in and we'll advocate for suing you after you try to work with us for years while we gather information on your operation. Eleanor Terrett spoke to Brad Sherman yesterday, and she said, she asked him why he thinks XRP is a security. He told me, for the reasons set forth in the SEC's position, and went on to explain that XRP investors relied on Ripple efforts, Brad Sherman came out later and said that Fox Business has something wrong. I often speak to SEC Chair Gensler, sometimes about crypto, but never regarding XRP. Only conversation I've had with an SEC official regarding XRP is testimony of the director that spoke yesterday or the day before yesterday. And then she goes on and she clarifies, not corrects. She says, what he meant when he said he'd been in contact to expand the case was Brad Sherman wants Gensler and the guy that was in front of Congress to include exchanges that sold XRP in their enforcement. So that's what he said in the hearing, Sherman said. Now, this is an interesting thing that Crypto Cowboy found. On October 2021, Brad Sherman called witnesses from Wall Street to testify at a hearing on China's market abuses, which included Alibaba. He called Wall Street witnesses to testify, but they all backed out. Why not call Bill Hinman? He was standing next to Jack. Now think about this for a minute. This Bill Sherman guy wants to destroy the crypto industry. He's made in the United States. He wants to destroy this innovation. He wanted to basically find people that have Chinese ties, the Communist Party of China, and this whole Alibaba thing. But he said this, when Sherman was asked by Congressman Huizenga to clarify who it was that didn't show for the hearing, he said, I'm not here to end any careers on Wall Street by explicitly identifying names. There are those whom were in discussions with some who had actually agreed to come testify, then notified us that it was in the interest of their careers that they not appear before us. Well, Bill Hinman was literally standing on the New York Stock Exchange floor right beside Jack Ma of Alibaba when this thing went public. So here's this guy that's wrapped up completely in this ETHgate thing. Bill Sherman has no interest in finding out about what went on there. No interest in a guy that was literally on the floor at these guys of Alibaba. He wasn't only on the floor, he was staring at them like it was his life's accomplishment. Look at the look on Bill Hinman's face in this short clip right. Look right there. Look at his face. He's standing there with his arms closed like, look what I did. Look what I did. He has a look on his face like he's the alpha there, and look, I did all of this. And you're welcome. That's the look on his face. And nobody looks into this when this ties directly into ETHgate and all of this stuff, folks. And nobody's looking into it. Now, here's a great clip. John Deaton was on yesterday. Let me show you this first. Yesterday, Jeremy Kaufman from LBRY, he said he's about to go to court to defend LBRY. They take your phone. No more updates after this. Then at the end of it, he says, we're free. Judge was skeptical of many SEC claims. SEC was forced to admit that substantial usage of LBRY was non-speculative, ruling in 4 to 8 weeks on summary judgment. Trial seems unlikely. More later and live. Okay, so that later on after that, he gets on with John Deaton yesterday evening. I was actually eating my dinner listening to this.
Because the judge said that this case, the LBRY case, and it also applies to Ripple in the XRP case, is a unique case that has not been fully addressed by the appellate courts. He said it's what we call a mixed use case, right? Some people own the token and acquired it for consumption, and some people acquired it for investment. And how do you handle that? You know, and the judge ended up near the end of the hearing saying to the SEC attorney, well, what if we were to look at every LBRY transaction and we were to come up and find out that 75% of the people acquired it for use and utility, right? To utilize the platform, and 25% investment. How does that make it a security or not security? The SEC's attorney basically said something very dangerous. He said utility doesn't matter. And the SEC attorney conceded that some people acquire LBC for consumption and to utilize the blockchain. But he said to the judge, doesn't matter what the percentage is, even if it's 75% of the people who acquired it for use and non-investment. If an objectively can say that there was some expectation of profit, then it's a security. And I just want you to think about that for a minute, because that is so dangerous, because it's an umbrella that just usurps all kinds of asset classes. It would make every crypto. You could even argue that definition applies to Bitcoin in many instances.
This case is part of the SEC setting a precedent that will establish that every single cryptocurrency developer, operator, builder, exchange, it is all illegal. That is what this precedent will do. That is why the SEC is going to MAP. We offered the SEC millions of dollars in settlement money. We offered the SEC lots of things. They declined all of it and chose to bring this case. They chose to go all the way. Why would they do that? Why would they do that if they're not trying to accomplish something bigger than this case?
So it's important that you understand what's going on, and that's what's going on. Now, we have all kinds of capitulation. Yesterday, I've been blocked by this 2-bit idiot who Ryan Selkis. He said, never thought I'd say this, but here we are. Let's go Ripple. Okay, he says, Selkis, Brad Garlinghouse, the SEC's out of control. This guy has been one big piece of garbage from day one. He's an arrogant smug. I mean, this guy is a bad dude. And the next guy I'm going to show you is too. But this is what he had to say when the case started. Okay, so I'm glad that none of us out here who have been working our butts off to prove what the SEC was up to, I'm glad that we didn't listen to this guy or have his, in my opinion, stupid opinion influence what we knew was going on, which was something not right. And so we dug anyway, okay? But these are, man, I don't have anything good to say about some of these people, including this guy. He's with the Blockchain Association that does not support Ripple or XRP, only supports Bitcoin and Ethereum as far as I can tell. They've done nothing to support Ripple in this whole case. He even is capitulating. This is Jake Chervinsky. The general rule in litigation is that you only file motions to exclude stuff that you think will hurt your case, since otherwise, why bother? So I take this as a sign either that John Deaton has really gotten under the SEC's skin, or he has a point to make, or both. Either way. And he's retweeting Charles Gasparino. Now this guy right here, folks, he in such a smug way, he literally tried to make fun of John Deaton when John Deaton got in this case. I mean, it was like you could smell all the snobbery and arrogance of one of these attorneys who's looking down on some attorney like John Deaton, and it just pissed me off. So this guy can go fly a kite as far as I'm concerned. Now, here's another one. Singapore-based crypto exchange ZipMex has just announced a pause in withdrawals of users' funds, folks. I'm going to keep telling you, Ledger Nano S, link in the top of the description. Don't keep your stuff on these exchanges in these times, folks. These people, remember, we have governments. They've told us. They've been very clear about it. They will do and have done anything under the guise of an emergency, even if it's an emergency created by the government itself. They don't care about you and me. They care about their agendas. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family to, if you hadn't already, get a hard wallet of some sort. I use the Ledger Nano S, several of them. Go in the description of this video and get